The memories have faded somewhat now, but the scars of the Nationals' 3+ months of bullpen debacle linger, preserved most prominently in statistics. For the first half of the season, the Nationals had the worst bullpen in the majors, by ERA, by batting average against and by antacids required. Their relievers blew 14 saves by the All-Star break, and their 5.62 ERA in the 7th, 8th and 9th innings was the worst in the majors by nearly half a run. The Nationals acquired Ryan Madson and Sean Doolittle from Oakland on July 15, and Brandon Kinsler seconds before the July 31 trade deadline. By doing so, they added more than $6 million in prorated salary to this year's payroll, and nearly $12 million to next year's books. While Kinsler will be a free agent after this season, Madson is under contract through 2018, and Doolittle is under control through 2019. Since Madson and Doolittle physically joined the Nationals in Anaheim on July 17, no team in the National League has a lower ERA in the 7th, 8th and 9th innings. The unit that once looked like their downfall now qualifies as a strength as the Nationals approach the October postseason, hoping this bullpen can withstand the pressure in a way their previous bullpens never could. Here, we share the moments that changed the Nationals' bullpen and their season so dramatically through the voices of those who lived them. Together, they create a detailed chronology of how the Nationals confronted a demoralizing problem, then found a way to fix it. July 15, 2017, things fall apart, again by the time the Nationals reconvened for their first series after the All-Star break, a 4-game set in Cincinnati. The script was well worn. Build a lead. Pull the starter. Blow the lead. Try to score enough to survive. But when the Nationals built a 10-0 lead over the Reds on July 15, they should have felt safe. Instead, they had to panic, and saw a 10-run lead become a 3-run lead by the bottom of the 9th. Not 12 hours later, they had acquired Madson and Doolittle. Nationals manager Dusty Baker: I knew we needed some help a long time ago. But there wasn't much help available at that time. Now that night in Cincinnati, that night didn't precipitate the trade, because you just can't make a trade that quick like that. But those things can happen in sports. It's not the first time it's happened. To tell you the truth, I didn't even remember that night in Cincinnati. It's kind of a blur right now. I try not to think of those nights. With a double-digit lead on July 15, Baker figured it was enough to turn things over to just called-up rookie Austin Adams, one of those elite stuff, work-in-progress command types the Nationals figured they'd give a big league shot in their sputtering bullpen. After a leadoff error, Adams walked a man, hit a man, then walked in a run. A single scored another run. Adams's major league debut ended with an infinity era, one he would carry back to the minors and sit on for weeks before getting his next big league chance. Austin Adams, you work so hard to get to that point where you get called up, and then you get put into a very favorable opportunity, a favorable situation, to completely lay an egg. Fellow rookie Trevor Gott, also called up to provide a fresh face and fresh hope, then allowed 5 runs without recording an out in the 9th. Ultimately, Matt Grace got 3 outs to stem what felt like unnecessary agony. Nationals reliever Matt Grace: I don't remember it being really different or out of the norm for a standard win. But, yeah, I remember that game. We were up 10-0, I don't really remember anything outstanding. Nationals general manager Mike Rizzo: it wasn't that specific day. It was a culmination of nights up to that. But there were a couple of late phone calls that night. One of those calls went to Oakland Athletics Executive Vice President Billy Beane. Billy Beane: Mike's a really competitive guy, but in the same sense he's very level-headed. What happened that night in Cincinnati had been going on. We'd seen it in Oakland. They'd almost had one against us on the Sunday where it was like 11-2 on that Sunday, and we made it 11-10. He had plenty of those games beforehand, and didn't let it affect him. At that point, I didn't feel any desperation. I knew he was going to get a guy, but it wasn't like, we've got this guy over a barrel now. Mike's a little more cagey than that. He might be competitive and emotional, but he knows how to put on his businessman hat, and he does so effectively. Sean Doolittle, longtime MLB reporter, Ken Rosenthal, he put out a tweet that said something about the Nationals were getting close, Or they were engaging in serious talks. I forget the exact phrasing, but that happened right before the game. That would have been on Saturday night. Yeah. My phone was blowing up. Mike Rizzo, I brought the deal to ownership saying, we need to do this deal now. We can't wait until the trade